So I've recently acquired this new Denarius, and I wanted to share it with you people. This is one of these coins that I'm talking about when I say you really have to study the historical context of when it was minted to fully appreciate what a great historical piece it is. This is Maximinus, also known as Maximinus the Thracian, and if you only collected the coin for the coin itself, this would be quite an unremarkable piece in your collection. Yet another 3rd century emperor who reigned for around 3 years after disposing of the last emperor of the Severan dynasty, and who would himself also meet his end at the tip of a sword and make way for the next emperor in the meat grinder that was 3rd century Rome. But there are some really interesting things that this coin tells us. Maximinus was a giant. Multiple sources tell us that he towered above any other Roman, with many claiming he was 8 feet tall or 2 meters 40 centimeters. Impressive. Apparently he was from provincial origins and was personally accepted in the Roman army after Septimius Severus saw him wrestle and beat every single soldier they threw at him. If you know how unreliable and exaggerated some Roman sources can get, we could dismiss this as imperial propaganda. Until you look at the coins, there is something odd with Maximinus's features. He seems to have a very pronounced nose, jaw and chin in general, and a very big brow ridge, particularly so in his very late coins. And turns out these features are precisely some symptoms associated with acromegaly and gigantism, genetic defects that led to the exaggerated secretion of growth hormone and abnormal growth. So in fact, the claims he was a giant might have been true after all. There's another fascinating thing about Maximinus's coins. He never set foot on Rome. In fact, he's probably the very first emperor who never got to see the capital, which means the die engravers who made his denarii had no idea what he looked like. This led to 3 very distinct types of portraits of the emperor. Remember, we're talking about just a very short 3-year reign, and each one has its own special features. The very first type is nothing but a more masculine version of the previous emperor, Severus Alexander, and doesn't look anything like Maximinus. The engravers probably only had very loose descriptions of what he looked like, so they just went with, okay, this new emperor is older than Alexander, let's make him with a thicker beard and more masculine features, and that's it. As we move in time, someone must have gotten back to them and said, hey guys, the emperor looks nothing like the coins you are making. He has a much more masculine face and a particularly pronounced jaw, nose, and brow ridge, so please, change that for the next batch. You don't want to make a giant of a man angry. And so they did. My Denarius in particular must be from the secondary phase, as he starts to look more like the real man. But then we get to the last phase of his portraits. That same person must have returned to the mint and once again said, no guys, you don't get it. He has a really exaggerated chin, a nose he could use as a spear, and a brow ridge so long he could use it as a table. Which oddly would make complete sense, as these are exactly the symptoms of acromegaly. And so they did. His last portraits have very exaggerated features, which make his coins fascinating. They're just such a massive break from the idealized portraits that denarii typically have. So next time you grab a new coin for your collection, it is really worth exploring the history of the time it was struck. Remember, your coin is not only a piece of art and a historical artifact, but also a testimony of a moment frozen in time long gone, and it definitely has a ton of fascinating stories to tell you. So have you got any coins that tell a cool story like this one you would like to share? Leave it in the comment section down below so we can see it. I hope you all liked it. Leave a like and consider subscribing if you did. Happy collecting, and see you all soon.